Hey, you've just stepped into the caring corner where life's caregiving challenges meet a whole lot of heart and a dash of sass. I'm Michelle O'Neill, and I'm here to serve up insights, inspiration, and real life tools to help you navigate caring for your kids and aging loved ones without forgetting about you. Expect everything from time management hacks and emotional wellness strategies to technology tips sprinkled with humor and tenacity. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hey, and welcome back to the Caring Corner, where I dive deep into the realities of caregiving, burnout, and reclaiming your energy. I'm Michelle O'Neill, your host and resident emotional wellness coach. And today we're talking about something that I know many of you struggle with, that belief that pushing through is the same as being strong. But what if I told you that that's a myth that's costing you more than you realize? Let's dig in. Now, we've all heard it. Girl, just push through. Keep going. You can rest when you're done. That hustle and grind attitude is fed to us from all directions, especially as caregivers. But here's the problem. This attitude is celebrated like it's the ultimate sign of strength, but it's not strength. It's placing ourselves actually into survival mode. You know what that reminds me of? Well, okay, think about this. It's like running on a treadmill that never stops. You're spending all that energy, but you're not getting anywhere. You're stuck in that same spot, but the floor, that treadmill is moving under you. You're pushing harder and harder, trying to get forward, hoping that something will change. But the more you push, the more you exhaust yourself. Real strength. It isn't about how long you can run on that treadmill. Trust me. It's about knowing when to step off and catch your breath. It's knowing when you've had enough, when you've reached your limit, and say, hold on, hold on. You know how you sit there with your hand over your heart, trying to catch your breath and say, just hold on, let me catch my breath. That's what real strength is about. Now, I've been in that spot thinking that if I could just push through one more day, I'd be okay. But what I didn't realize was that every time I ignored my own needs, I was digging a deeper hole. And the reality is, many of you are doing that same thing, trying to be everything to everyone without pausing to ask what you need. And actually, there's a study that's done by the American Psychological Association. And what they found out was that nearly half of caregivers report high levels of emotional stress. Now, that's 50% of people in our shoes who are feeling the weight of pushing too hard too often. And yet, we keep going because we think that's what we're supposed to do. If we can just get through. In fact, that's how I push through my workout when I exercise, when I'm on the treadmill. If I can just finish, do the 30 minutes, get through. It doesn't matter if I'm exhausted. And sometimes you just have to stop and catch your breath. So let's talk about what happens when we ignore burnout, right? We often think that burnout just means feeling tired, but it's so much deeper than that. Mentally, it's the constant stress, the anxiety that keeps you up at night, that brain fog that makes you forget the simplest things. You start losing your patience, not just with others, but actually with yourself. It's like you're in a fog, constantly trying to catch up. And emotionally, it feels like you're on a roller coaster. One minute you're holding it together, and the next you're snapping at someone you love, or worse, completely shutting down. And you start to disconnect because you don't have the bandwidth for anything else. It's not just about being tired. It's about being completely drained emotionally and mentally. Have you ever found yourself in a space where you're just sitting there and these words come to your mind? I just can't. I can't. You can't move. You can't do anymore. You're just emotionally and physically exhausted. I want you to think about your energy that we're talking about like a cell phone battery, right? Every little task, every emotional exchange, every sleepless night is draining that battery. But different from your phone, you can't just plug yourself in at night and wake up the next morning fully charged. Woo, I'm ready to go. When you're constantly pushing through, you're running on a low power mode. You're barely functioning, and one more notification or stressor can completely shut you down. I know I've reached this point several times, and it wasn't pretty when my body totally shut down on me because I wouldn't do it for myself. And then talking about that body shutting down, there's that physical toll. This is where burnout really starts to show itself. Things like chronic headaches, digestive issues, frequent illnesses, muscle tensions. These aren't just these random symptoms. And yeah, I realize that these symptoms show up in so many other ailments and diseases. So first I'm going to tell you, go to your doctor and check to make sure that it's nothing serious, nothing else. And if not, then ask yourself, what's what's been going on in my life recently? Your body is sending you SOS signals. Hello, begging you to slow down, and yet we just keep ignoring them, right? It's like driving your car with the check engine light on, hoping that it's going to make another mile, hoping it'll go away. But it doesn't mean the problem is not still there. And at some point, something's got to give. Okay, so if pushing through isn't the answer you're asking, then what is? Let me tell you that real strength comes from recognizing your limits and honoring them. It's about making choices that protect your well being, not just getting through another day. Getting through isn't the answer. One of the most powerful things that you can do is to set boundaries. And yeah, I get it. Boundaries can feel like a luxury we can't afford, but they're really essential. Even small boundaries like scheduling a 10-minute break during the day or saying no when you're overwhelmed. These things are game changers. Boundaries are act like our guardrails, and they keep you on the road and prevent you from veering off into burnout or actually crashing and barreling down the side of that mountain of burnout. You know, we've been conditioned to think of self-care as a reward, something that we get if we have time at the end of the day. But what if we, what if we flip that? What if self-care was the baseline, not the bonus? It doesn't have to be complicated. Something simple as a walk outside, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or sitting in silence. You just don't know the value of silence or taking a moment to just breathe deeply. Have someone ever said something to you and you're chipping at the bit to respond back and you know your response won't be pretty? Guess what I learned to do? Breathe. Just breathe deeply. Concentrate on what's happening with my body right then. Take a deep breath. And it has this almost immediate effect of grounding me and calming me. Look, these aren't extras. These are lifelines. I want you to get in the habit of checking in with yourself regularly. Just do things like stop and ask, what do I need right now? And then listen. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's connection. Or maybe it's just a moment of quiet. Whatever it is, just honor that need right then. Like I tell my kids, or anyone that you're dealing with, if you're not bleeding, if it's not an emergency, I'm taking this time. Honor that need. You wouldn't ignore your loved one's needs, would you? So why do we ignore our own? So with that said, here's what I want you to do after this episode. I want you to take a moment to reflect on how often you've pushed through burnout and at what cost. Come on. I know it's not easy to face, but it's necessary. You deserve better than just getting by. So I'm going to go back to that. I want you to reflect on how often you've pushed through burnout and ask yourself, at what cost? And listen, if you're ready to take the next step and break this cycle, I want to invite you to join me at my Burnout Proof Blueprint mini course. It's a 3-day session, just 3 little days. And all we're going to do is work on burnout. It's about an hour and 90 minutes each time. I'm really shooting for a half an hour to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because I know how busy you are. But the thing I want you to get is to do the exercises. Now, in this course, we dive into actual actionable strategies to help you reclaim your energy, to set healthy boundaries, and to find balance without burnout. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what's right for you. Remember, acknowledging burnout isn't a weakness. It's actually the bravest thing that you can do. And it's the first step towards reclaiming your strength. I mean, real strength, true strength. You're already showing up for others every day. Now is the time to show up for yourself. Look, I want to thank you for tuning in to this short episode of the Caring Corner, because I felt talking about what pushing through really was, and that it's important to let go of that myth that we keep feeding ourselves. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and you know who they are. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and save this, and join me for the next episode. I want you to save this so you'll always have it to come back to. Until then, take care of you. Bye-bye. All right, that's a wrap for today at the Caring Corner. We've tackled some big topics, but remember, you're not in this alone. Subscribe to keep the wisdom and warmth coming, and stay tuned for amazing guests who'll be joining us to help round out your caregiving toolkit. Catch you next time, and keep conquering those challenges.